Hello, this is Susie again. I thought we'd do one more flower, so I punched these flower petals with the flower punches that I have. They're 3 different sizes here. And I'll have in the description box what the name of the punches was, or actually probably what I'll do is I might do a link to where you can find these. I'll have to see if I can find them. But anyway, so what I have is Stampin' Up! Concord Crush ink, and we're going to do these ones a little bit different. So, and what I did was I took my scissors and I cut in halfway, about halfway, on the petals. And so what we want to do is just try to get the ink mainly just in the center of the flower petal. Don't worry, don't get any on the leaves. I mean, you know, if you get a little on there, it's not a big deal, but if you just try to just get the ink right there in the center. And let me scoot this ink over so you see how I'm doing it. Anyway, so all I did was just kind of fold my petal up a little bit so that they kind of stood up off of the ink pad some, and then give it a good push right there in the center. Just like that. And I'm just kind of bending it up and around a little bit just to try to keep the ink off of the petals. And this paper has a front side and a back side. The front of it is, or the top is real bumpy and stuff, and then the back is real smooth. And so I'm putting all the ink on the bumpy parts, the top of it. Okay. Alright, and then what we did with the other flower, we're going to do the same thing with the water. And all you're going to do is, and I still have the same water I was doing on the red ones, but I don't think it's going to make any difference to it. So anyway, so I'm just kind of folding it, and I'm going to put the center of the flower into the water, just barely, and then let the water absorb up to the top of the leaves. Okay, and I'm going to actually move this. There we go. Okay, lay that out. And I am going to be covered in ink. So I'm just barely putting the flower into the water. Okay. Oops. Well, that one got dunked. And I'm just leaving it in there, just the tip of it in there, and then let the water absorb up to the top. And then you take it out when your whole flower is absorbed. Or your petal, rather. And I need to scoot these over a little bit. Okay. It don't take long for these little ones. Okay. And this one here, the one that I accidentally dunked, I'm going to actually what I'm going to do is I'm just going to give this a squeeze so that that ink kind of disperses up into the petals a little bit more. So it wasn't so. There we go, that's much better. Okay. And I'm gonna grab a paper towel, 1 second. And I guess if you don't want your hands covered in ink, might want to wear some gloves for this. Alright. And we're gonna kind of do the similar thing that we did before. So, what you want to do is kind of bend this one so that it's up in the center like that, and give it a squeeze and then bring it out just a hair. Sorry, I had to make sure I was on the front side of my paper. Like that. And then these ones you're going to do basically the same thing. Just give it a scrunch, and then you want to bring it out a little bit because you don't want it to be super scrunched so that it loses its, well, I guess unless you want it that way. You will get a different look in your flower depending on how you do this part here. Oh, I'm so sorry. I didn't realize it was in frame. Just giving these little ones a little squeeze. And I'm going to come back to this one actually, and I'm going to go ahead and point these points just a little bit more. I'm just squeezing the very tip to give them a point. You know, that way you can see too that depending on how you do this part really makes a big difference on how your flower is going to look. Okay. Alright, well, I'm going to pause this for a minute and I'll be right back. Actually, I'm going to pause this. Go ahead and do all of your wrinkling with your petals and then excuse me, and then let them air dry. And when you're done with that, and I'm done with that, I'll be right back. Okay, see you in a minute. Okay, so I figured out what I was doing for the center. I have these little stamens, and then I have some just white glue and Recollections. This color is Heather, and they're the little tiny beads. And then I also am using Purple Sapphire by Martha Stewart. And I put a little of each in my little pan here and mixed it up. And then, here, let me scoot that this way so you can see. I'll move this out of the way for right now. Okay, and then just scoot that more there. Okay, and get my arm sleeve out of the way. Alrighty, so then all I'm doing, let me see if you can see, yep. Okay, is put a little bit of glue right here, and then I'm just rolling my little guy in it here, and then I'm going to swirl him around in this stuff, glitter and little beads. And I didn't get the one side very good, so I'm going to, there. Okay, and then after I did that, then, oops, let me get that in frame. Get this to focus. Is just kind of real gently shape this back into a little round stamen, because it kind of gets a little blobby looking. Okay, just like that. And then we're going to do the same thing to the other one here. Okay. So sorry. And just trying to shape this back into a little ball. Alright, and then we're going to let these dry. And when they're all dry, I will be back. Alrighty, see you in a few. Okay, so... Alrighty, so what we're going to do now is I have a pick. And I'm going to put a hole in the center of the flower. get that hole big enough for the, gotta get it big enough for the stamen to get through it. And just kind of moving it back and forth, just trying to get that hole a little bit bigger. And I kind of smooshied my flower. Dang it. We'll get it back in shape. Okay, so I think it's big enough now for the stamen to get through. Dang it, I did kind of smushy my flower, didn't I? But it's alright, I got it back in shape again. So, let me see how dry these are. Okay. Let me see if I can get that to go through there. Yep. Oh my goodness, that's so pretty. Okay, so I am going to do one more, so we'll have a total of 3 in there. And I'm just going to cut this one here in half. And then pop this little guy right down there too. Let's move that. Oh. So we'll move these up and that down a little bit, and then see if we can get, there we go. And look at that. That's very pretty. I'm going to fluff my petals up a little bit more and get out some of that. Oh, just fine tune it. Get out some of those glue strings. Okay, that looks pretty good to me. Alrighty, so now all we're going to do is we're going to put a little bit of, oh poo. So I'm going to use this glue because I forgot and turned off my glue gun. So I'm going to put a little dab of white glue right here. Fold these little guys over. Make sure they're good and coated. Blow on it a little bit. And I think that'll be just fine. And voila! Isn't that beautiful? Oh my gosh, I just love that. Okay guys, well, I hope y'all enjoyed this video, and I will see you guys in the next one. Okay, talk to you later. Bye.